if your Romanian mother says it's just advice, you're about to get roasted. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Romanian people in general, there's no filter. There's no, oh, I'm about to hurt this person's feelings. And we disguise it as, it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion, but... And then they say, like, the meanest thing, the rudest thing.
And it's not just the Romanian moms. It's literally...
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody. From the taxi driver to the supermarket clerk. They all have something to say, one way or another, to express their opinion, and under this disguise that it's
just
not...
my opinion.
Yeah. But they need to put their 2 cents. Hello, welcome back. This is Andreea Park.
And Alexa Dumitru.
And this is Alive Again podcast. This is a podcast where attorneys and other professionals meet to discuss real life challenges and how our decisions shaped our journeys. Today, it's just the two of us. We have no guest, and we thought to do something different, something special that is outside of our normal discussions. And I will let Alexa tell you what's all about.
So today I'm spearheading, I guess you could say, this episode. And I thought we would do something a little more silly. And we thought we would do our spin of this trend of hot takes. So we gathered a few of our hot takes relating to family, to being Romanian, because we are in Romania. We have a few that are a little bit more serious. We just have like a random compilations of things that we found were funny and we could say something about. So, first one being, mothers aren't always right, but they think they are.
As a mother, I relate to that.
Yeah. So, we've been using the metro here in Bucharest a lot because the traffic is absolutely insane. So you have to find other modes of transportation. And because I was here for 3 months last year, I got very well acquainted with the metro system. So I know my way around pretty well. And the past few days we've been going together with the metro to the different places. And she does not want to listen to what I have to say. And one time she was alone and we were supposed to meet here at our station so we could go somewhere together. And I told her, come here, because just come here, trust me. And instead, because she had a transfer at the station she was at with the train that we were supposed to be on. And she said, no, I'm just going to get in that train. I go, see you in an hour, because that train circles Bucharest. And she went for a long ride. And I was just waiting for her there. If she would have come back, she would have had 4 stops. Not even. Total. Instead, you went on a whole, just because you didn't want to listen to me.
Yeah, but...
The scenic route.
Right. I mean...
Okay.
Maybe it was the time for me to...
Okay.
travel throughout Bucharest. And also yesterday we were in the train and somebody asked her, is this the train that goes to the central station, train station? And she, without batting a lash, she said, no, this is not the train, the other one is the train. And I said, how do you even know that? Because this goes this and that, and the other one goes to central station. I was like, look at this, a New Yorker born in New York, raised in New York, knows the Bucharest metro better than somebody that was born here. But that is
But she thinks she's
point.
always right. She thinks she's right. So, yeah, that's our little anecdote about Romanian mothers thinking they're always right. Mothers, period, thinking they're always right. Okay, next one. Romanian parents invented guilt trips. So, she is the way she is now. But when I was a kid, she was very much the stereotypical Romanian mother. So I still have memories of these scenarios happening because she was not like this when I was young. So,
because it's funny that many of us judge our parents and think that, oh, I would never do this to my kid. But this is how I was raised, and we were raised here in Romania, very tough. And it's funny that the other day I was doing something and I started laughing because I realized it's exactly my mother does. And that I found myself doing it, which is super funny. And do you have an example?
yes, actually
Okay.
I do. So, when I was young, and I think my dad did this a lot more than my mom, but I would go out with my friends, whatever, when I was in middle school or whatever. I would go to the park after school. If I went to the park and I had fun today, I cannot go to the park and have fun tomorrow. That's not how it works. I don't necessarily know if that's a guilt trip, but that's not how it works. You cannot have fun 2 days in a row.
This is how I was raised. I remember I was born in this country back when Romania was still a communist country, and very tough parenting, really tough parenting. And it was good in a sense, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Something good came out of communism, I guess.
You know, with toughness, I guess sometimes you get motivated more. But the guilt trip, let's find a different example. I raised you for 20 years and now you're leaving me here alone and you're not helping me the way I helped you.
Yeah, that's a classic.
And then, of course, I'm sure that every Romanian heard that from their parents. I gave birth to you.
I put you in this world, I can take you out of it.
Yeah, I have the right to kill you.
That's one that there's a trend going on right now and on Instagram and TikTok and stuff with the new age moms. They're saying these phrases to their children, but they put a different spin on it, like a loving spin on it. But the whole idea is like the new kids are not hearing what their parents heard, which is nice. Anyway, okay, next one. This is more of like a general one. You're not that busy, you just have bad time management. Yeah, that's a big one.
You hear that a lot.
Yeah, but I think I've gotten better at it, no?
Yes.
I think I've gotten much better at it.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, and I experienced the same thing this year, but last year I was going to school, I had a job, and I was creating a collection all at the same time, and I still had time to have a life for myself. And
No, but it's funny going back to my mom. So when I was young, I would go out and meet some friends, and I would be out, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. And when I would come back, what in the world did you do 5 hours? What can you talk about for 5 hours? You know how much you could have read?
that's the guilt trip.
You
That's
know
a guilt trip.
how much you could have read in 5 hours? And then the other day, just a couple of days ago, I went for a manicure. I come home. What in the world did you do for 2 hours for a manicure? What did she do to you for 2 hours? So I've heard that time management thing my entire childhood. And now, of course, what do? The same thing to Alexa.
You're not that bad. You're not that bad. Next one. If your Romanian mother says it's just advice, you're about to get roasted. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Romanian people in general, there's no filter. There's no, oh, I'm about to hurt this person's feelings. And we disguise it as, it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion, but... And then they say like the meanest thing, the rudest thing.
And it's not just the Romanian moms. It's literally
that's what I'm saying.
everybody.
Everybody.
From the
Romanians in
taxi
general.
driver to the supermarket clerk. They all have something to say, one way or another, to express their opinion, and under this disguise that it's
Just
not
my opinion.
Yeah. But they need to put their 2 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that they.
And it will be mean, and it will be rude, and it will be without a filter. So, okay. Romanian women can survive anything but a broken nail. Speaking of the manicure, yeah. So that goes to show you exactly our lives, you know? We have been through so much, and prisons and hospitals and whatever else. But when we break a nail, death and destruction. And when we break a nail,
but the manicure
end of the
has
world.
to be perfect. I mean, before you go to the funeral or before you go to do something super serious for your life, you need to have your manicure in place. So, and that's that.
I actually have a story about that. So right after Grandma died, it was my first death. I was very much. I mean, you can never be prepared for a death, right? But I was very much not at all prepared. And the day after, I was like, I need to relax. How else can I relax other than get a manicure? So I was getting my nails done right after my grandma died, and I was still in that point of I haven't processed yet, and I haven't really understood what's going on yet. So I was just sitting there getting my manicure done, and I went to the funeral with nice nails.
Yeah, and that's funny because so I left Romania and I moved to New York when I was 22. And until I settled and I had my own place, I've moved from place to place. Of course, it's normal. And I remember it was a Saturday morning, and the landlord where I lived, I didn't have a lease or anything, so it was just an agreement between friends, called me and told me that he has an emergency, that his son is coming back from, it was the son's apartment, the son is coming back from wherever he was, and he needs the apartment vacated, right? So he said, I would really appreciate if you move out today, tomorrow, I need the apartment. I was like, no, let me process this information. So I got into my car and I went to get my nails done, because I couldn't have a
clear
mind without my manicure done. So then I came home with fresh nails and I started packing.
Yeah, sounds about right. Along the same lines of it's just advice, we don't gossip, we tell stories. That's a good one, because Romanians are very religious. And it's really not nice to gossip. They say that in church all the time. You can't gossip. So we don't gossip, we just tell stories. Because you don't go to hell that way. If you just tell stories, huh? Next question. Ironing is a love language. So
it depends for who.
Right. We were reading
Not
through...
for me.
We were reading through the questions, and the full question was, for mothers, ironing is a love language. And I was like, I'm just going to take the first section of that, because I do all the ironing in the house. That's me. And yeah, it is, because nobody likes to iron. Whether you're a fashion designer or just a mother. I mean, nobody likes ironing. And as the person who does the ironing in the house, that's very true. Next one. Fabric stores are emotional roller coasters. 1 minute you're inspired, the next minute you're broke. You know what that's like too, because you come with me sometimes to the stores.
Yes.
It's dangerous in there. And it's like a black hole. Like
Yeah.
you get sucked in.
Especially in the US. Yeah, the our favorite store is Mood
A
in
lot of people know mood. It's
Mood in New York, and in Miami as well. We went there. And it's absolutely insane. You don't know. I
it's
mean,
a
you're
black
grabbing this,
hole.
you're grabbing that. You envision all kinds of things, and then you realize that you bought a huge bag.
Yeah, you go in there and you come out somehow like 6 hours later. Your hair is disheveled, like you've just been like in a black hole. Your hair is all disheveled. You're all dirty and dusty, and from climbing on the like
But it's fun.
it's very fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's exhausting too. Every time I come back from like I learned after so long that you have to go into a fabric store with what you need to get.
Yeah.
You need a plan. I need this, this, and that, and I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit and get inspired and look around.
Don't go anywhere else. Yeah.
I try to. I've had this experience now when I was trying to design things for Romania when we came here with our events and things like that, and I was having such a creative block, and I couldn't. Nothing was lighting up for me. And I was like, I can't avoid it any longer. I gotta go to Moon and just sit with the fabric and let it speak to me. That was the worst decision ever because not only did I buy random fabric that I didn't do anything out of, I didn't really get inspired. I bought things that I didn't need that are still at home, just sitting there. And there we are.
No, but once we had to meet in Bryant Park, and I was sitting there on a bench and texting her and calling her, not answering. And it was like 2 hours later. And finally she calls me back. I just came out of a button store. I found a new button store. She spent 2 hours in that button. Now I speak like my mother. What did you do for 2 hours at manicure? What did you do 2 hours in a button store? But then she said, no, you have to see this store. So I went there and we got lost both in that store.
And it's a pretty small store. Like, it's no Mood with 3 floors. It's a pretty small store.
Yeah.
And it's, oh my God. And it's not even a fabric store. It's buttons. I mean, how long can you look at buttons for? But leave it to me to spend 2 hours in a button store. I did that when we came back from, when I went to go buy the buttons for this, show them the buttons that you have here. Like, these were from that store, and I spent not only a fortune, I spent years off my life. Like, I spent so long in that place. And at least I got some nice buttons out of it.
Yeah, nice buttons. Yeah. That makes, they transform they give life.
Well, yeah, of course.
To
Especially because I was wearing like a full suit with this
Yeah.
vest fabric. It really like popped.
and the other buttons that you have on your linen, the sailor pants,
yeah.
those as well are bringing the pant alive. I mean,
Yeah.
they're amazing. So it was worth the 2 hours.
Sure. I guess you could say that. When your mom says, it's your life, that means I strongly disapprove and I will bring it up weekly.
Well,
That's kind of how you end. I feel like every time you've said something that you disapprove of me doing, which you don't do very often, but it's happened before, you ended with like, faci ce vrei, which means like, do what you want. But you bring it up constantly, and I know that means like, I disapprove. I know that's just, I disapprove. Plain and simple. I don't know why you sugarcoat it, but
yeah, because ultimately
it's your life.
it's your life. You do whatever.
Do what you want.
Right. But as parents and as people with more experience, we're trying to protect our children from suffering. So this is our way of putting them on the track that we believe is right for them.
Right, but then we go
Which-
back to the mothers aren't always right, but they think they are.
But I'm a mother, so
You have to put
I
in your
need
opinion.
to right.
And then end it with it's your life. Do what you want.
Faz Jeffrey.
Yeah. Do what you want. Okay. Next one. Again, I can put myself in this category too because we didn't grow up with therapy. We had to go clean something and stop crying.
Yeah.
There was no mental illness doesn't exist here. It just doesn't.
And now it started, but back when I grew up, there is it was no mental. I mean, the only
It's not even a mental illness. You can't even be affected by anything.
yeah, and the only therapy, I mean, therapy didn't exist in this country. It used to be a hospital for mentally impaired, and that was kind of it. I mean,
One hospital.
you were either crazy with a certificate or normal.
Which crazy means
Crazy mean medically was the serious, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but the serious mental illnesses, those ended up in that hospital. And I believe that even back then, like now, there are people that cannot handle a lot of life challenges. And we grew up tougher because in communism wasn't easy. And probably a lot of people are asking me, how did you go through all you've been through? And I think that it's because the way I grew up. And this thing with therapy now, I mean, Alexa's been through therapy in the US since after her dad passed away. So for the past, 2 years?
almost 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, and last time when we were here, she was telling my mother about therapy, and she was like, "What is that? Can you explain? What are you talking about with your therapist?"
Why are you
Why do you need
spilling
that?
the dirty laundry in the house to someone you don't know?
Yeah,
I mean, that even happens to
They-
our family members in the U.S. who are Romanian, but they,
yeah. So they
like,
yeah
they don't understand why are you talking to someone that you don't know? Why are you doing that? This relates to our final question. Starting a podcast with your mom is cheaper than therapy, but it's more dangerous. So, because of the fact that I do both, I have a podcast with my mom and I do therapy. I kind of get the best of both worlds. I do agree that podcast with my mom is more dangerous.
You are wonderful, and I believe that we're doing a great job together. And I'm happy that we are close and that we can make fun of each other. Because we were talking about how tough I am, but she's even tougher than I am. And she tells me things straight up, which I kindly take as they land, because they're pure and I understand the message. And I thank you for that.
Okay. You're very welcome. That's what I'm here for, I guess.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this.
Silly episode this week. As a little break from all the seriousness from our guests who are lovely, but, sometimes we need a little break.
Yeah, because what would life be without having fun and making fun of ourselves? Because after all, this is how we move through life, with fun. Don't take things so seriously, because they're not.
Yeah.
Please subscribe and follow us for more conversations. And send us questions, suggestions.
Fun hot takes for next time. Maybe
yes,
we can start a mini series.
Yes, we're open. We're open to any suggestion and question. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.